we're going to create tonight a simplified text. So I want you to take your paper like this, and I want you to fold it in half. This is called the hot dog fold, like this. Everybody fold it like this. My elementary and early childhood people, they already know this fold, but my secondary people probably don't. And this is really good for secondary students as well. Okay, now since we're going to be talking, in 5th grade we're only talking about 3 states of matter, and I know the last time you told me that there are 4, but in 5th grade they only teach them that there's 3, so we're going to make 3 cuts, but you're only going to cut the first flap, not the second. So we're going to cut it and make it thirds, all the way just to the fold, like this. And then we're going to make one more cut like this. So you should have the back is the solid, and the front has 3 flaps. Okay? Everybody see? And what I'm doing now is I'm modeling for you. You would do the same thing with your students. The next thing I want you to do, I want you to write across the top 3 states of matter. Across the top, 3 states of matter. Everybody see? What we're creating is called a foldable. On your first flap, then you're going to put here solid. In the middle, liquid. And then we're going to put gas, like this. Now we're going to do this foldable, but we're going to do it from the vantage point of you being the teacher. So when you do this with your students, you would do it a little bit different way, but I'm doing it with you because I want to teach you how to determine what you're going to teach your English learners, because you have to teach them the same content as everyone else. That's according to the consent decree, right? And then you have to assess them according to what you teach, right? So when we create this, this is for you, but I'll tell you when we finish a little bit of adaptations you can make for your students. You wouldn't put the same material on here that you're going to put on here tonight as you would with your students. So I'm going to do like a backwards design. I want to look at what do you need to teach. All right, so for this lesson, we know that we're teaching the difference between solids, liquids, and gases, okay? Then we know that we're going to identify the solids, liquids, and gases based on particle activity. So we have to teach them that, and we have to assess them on that. And we have to teach the difference between volume and mass. We have to teach them that. We have to assess them on that. Now, I'm not doing volume on mass specifically on this page just for our explanation tonight, but those are the things you would teach. So, I gave you another sheet, another booklet, and I'm going to use this as my assessment. If you look on page E9, there's 3 questions. I want you to flip your paper backwards, and I want you to make 3 lines, well, 2 lines, excuse me. And we're just pretending that these are the only 3 assessments that we would the questions we would have. Obviously, we would have more, but in order for me to show you what you need to do with your text and with your assessments, we're just going to use 3 questions. So the questions are, what are the 3 states of matter? So let's write that first question here. What are the 3 states of matter? Second question, which state of matter keeps its shape? You're going to write that here. Next to it, which state of matter keeps its shape? That's okay. The last, which states of matter this is the third one. Which states of matter take the shapes of their container? So, we are pretending that these are the only 3 assessment questions that we're going to have for this unit. We know that there will be more, but for sake of modeling for you, we're going to use these 3. So now what I want you to do, I've given you 2 different texts. I want you to go and find in the text the sentences that answer these questions and write down the sentence that answer these. So answer these questions directly from the book. Find them, put the page number by them, and write them out for me exactly the way they say it in the chapter. So answer, I want, underneath, I want you to write the answer. Tell me, what are the 3 states of matter? What is the sentence from the book? Okay, solids, liquids, and gases are the most common states of matter. And doesn't it say on Earth? On Earth. Okay, I thought it did. Only because this is the 3rd time this week I've done this. So, all right. So now we've analyzed the text and we've seen some of the problems and issues. What's the next one? Which state of matter keeps its shape? Yes.
On page 171, it says a solid is a substance with a definite shape and volume.
A solid is a definite.
It is a substance.
Is a substance
with a definite shape and volume.
Bless you. Okay. What are we going to do with this sentence? We need to simplify it. What can we do? What can we get rid of?
Is it substance and microbases is like has?
Okay, so a solid has a definite shape and volume. What? Well, we don't have to keep volume, but we do have to explain the difference between volume and that. So you could leave it in there because you are teaching about volume at a different point. A solid has a definite shape. Is there a simpler word for definite? A set or fixed, set, actual, those are still kind of big words.
Or if you just wanted to just keep it directly related to the question, you could just say a solid keeps its shape.
I like that. A solid keeps its shape. That's really, really a very simple version. A liquid takes the shape of its container. How about that? Okay, so gases, you could say a liquid takes the shape of its container. Then you could say, because we want to have patterns, remember patterns are important, we could have gases take, same thing, the shape of its container. And I have a reason that we want to do that, which I'm going to show you in a few minutes. So you would make two sentences out of that. But these words, the same words are in this sentence. Okay? So now we've answered our questions. We've simplified the text. Now you have a simplified text to use with Edith, Edgar, and Cecile. But there's still one more thing we need to do. We need to draw a picture on the front of a solid, liquid, and gas. So we already had pictures at the beginning. So at the beginning lesson, we did a rock for a solid, but you could use any kind of thing for a solid. You could also do the particles. Remember, we have to know the particle activity. So for a solid, you could put the particle activity. And remember, those are very closely related, or close to each other. Then you have the liquid. And you have less free-flowing there. And in the gas, you have even less. You could do that along with a picture. Because remember, they need those visuals to connect with. And we've already shown them at the beginning of the lesson. We gave them visuals during the realia. So now we're trying to get to the written words and helping them to write and read. We still want to bring over some visuals. So you can draw that. Spend a little time being creative now and draw on the front of your page. If you open up on the inside, you're going to look through the text and you're going to pick out some bullet points of characteristics. You could just do 3 for now. Remember to keep these bullet points with just 2 or 3 words. Characteristics of a solid, characteristics of a liquid, characteristics of a gas. Because, that's one of the objectives that we have to do, to talk about the difference. So, find in the text, but just make it 2 or 3 words. So, reduce that text into 2 or 3 words, bullet points. Characteristics of a solid, characteristics of a liquid, characteristics of a gas. Okay, and that's on the inside chapter, or entire chapter for this particular lesson. You've taken the assessment, and we're pretending this is the whole entire assessment, and you've simplified it. So now you have a simplified text. Now let me tell you some different ways that you could do this with your students. You could have them, obviously, put the 3 words here, have the pictures, you have the particle activity. You could have that on the inside. You want to have them answer your questions in a simplified manner. But what you could do, Edith, that might be just a little bit too much writing. So you could prepare a handout, a PowerPoint handout that she can cut out and paste on here. You could have some pictures that she could cut out and paste, because that's a lot of text. And her just writing that text is not teaching her the text. Some teachers think that if you have them just write definitions, that's teaching them. That is not teaching them. Okay? So you could have that on there. Some of your more advanced students could look through the text and find these characteristics, but Edith and Edgar would not be able to do that. So you could either have them paste the characteristics on here, or you could use what I call cheap child labor, and you could use the text someone else creates. Say in one group you have more advanced students and they create these. That could be the text that I use with Edith. But I tend to like the idea of cutting and pasting for her, because at least she's getting to do something, not just sit and watch somebody else do it. So, but I'm just telling you the different options. And then, once you have taught these sentences, okay, and taught these characteristics, and we've been doing it through all the other activities we've done. We need to have some practice. So you could take these squares and this would be like another day, cut them apart, and you could have a little station where they have to match all the parts, put them where they belong. Okay, so that's one level of practice that they could have. And see, they get candy if they get it right. So they get to do some matching. That's one level of practice that they can use with something that they've already done. Another level of practice then would be to start some of the sentence frames. So this one was a good example. Take this out. So, if you prepared that PowerPoint, then you wouldn't have to write this over. You could print those out again and just take out the content words first. So that's the first round that I would do. I would make sentence frames. See, I'm going to teach them how to write. I'm teaching her how to write. I'm teaching her how to read. But I'm taking it slow. I've taken this lesson, I've taken the text, and we broke it down into this text. And now I'm going to start building them back up so they can read and write it. Okay?